Okay, test, check. Can you hear me? I don't know if he can hear me. Did he mute me? Did I mute myself? I don't think I muted myself. Yeti, microphone, voice settings. We're all good there. Okay, cool. Can't hear you.
Hey, what's up, everybody? It's your boy VG Race. Welcome back again to episode 5, The Revenge of the Salt. Who brought it? I don't know.
All right, welcome to the Ion Esports Outside the Lanes podcast. It's me, your boy King, accompanied by the man, the myth, the legend, who already introduced himself, Ian Race Crown White. Today we are going to hit a few topics and discussions and talk about them, and hopefully you're down to ride along. Feel free to hit subscribe, follow us on all the socials. We have them connected and correctly connected now that because we've made a few changes to some of the links. That way you will be able to join us on our social medias, as far as Discord, on Twitter, the Facebook, or the YouTube, as well as the Facebook. So feel free to join us and follow us and be with us in all of our communities. Again, my name's King. This is Race. And we're just going to have a little friendly discussion about League of Legends.
Dumb question. You want music playing throughout the show or just like on the intro only?
Just for the intro. I normally cut my music. So like right now there's no music playing, but I mean...
Oh, no. I was bumping that Ghost Town real quick.
Even though gotcha.
Ito from Harris Keller's kind of dope.
You really enjoyed that stream beats.
Now Bliss and Chips like you can bump that going down the hood. It was long enough.
That's really funny.
It's almost a twerk beat. It's like I almost
it is
got
not almost a twerk beat. You take that back. Take that statement back, bro. Oh wait, I should actually make sure. Say something real quick.
Yo.
Okay, so I'm gonna move you up just a little bit because sometimes
my mic is away from me now.
Yeah, and I'm gonna move mine up a little bit too, because the last couple, I noticed that there was a little bit of a sound difference as far as like when I was talking. So I had to like move the volume shifter up, and then I had to actually like increase the volume on my computer, and I hate having to do that. I want, for people to be able to actually hear us clearly, loudly, not have to fiddle around with sounds, get good sound quality. Because why else would we be here? Yeah, we're not trying to bring the best quality to people around.
It's almost as bad as the fact that, no matter how we do this, we still can't figure out how to get the videos to line up in the overlays.
I got my video to line up, but you're like, if I do your video, it'll just be janky and messed up. So as long as this product ends up being good for everybody out there, that's all that actually matters.
But before we get started, we're going to run a quick 60-minute ad so nobody get hit with the, oh, you didn't pay the fine.
The fine? Oh, you mean the ad for those that come and join and watch the show live? Because we do the show live. This is the Ion Esports podcast. This is X King, or almost said the old one. It's actually at www.twitch.tv/call_me king. Call me king with call_me king. But that's where this is being hosted live right now. We may end up actually getting an Ion Esports. What is it called? Twitch channel. Yeah, Twitch channel or Twitch link or whatever for when these go live. Or I was even thinking about hosting this on a different platform, like making this a YouTube thing. Whatever you guys really come down to think is the best or the best way to go about this. We love the suggestions. We love to hear what you have to say. So then that way we're able to actually just do what people want to actually see and actually want to participate in and things of that nature. I think starting it off, we're going to jump into Worlds. We are in Worlds. We just got done with the group stage. The recording of this is 10/14/2020. And the group stage is finished. The knockout stage locks in 1 day and 1 hour for the brackets and whatnot. So we can have a conversation about Worlds up until the this point, or at least taking off of the last time that we had a little conversation about worlds and groups and stuff like that.
So a lot of people missed completely in Group A. G2 did make it out, so a lot of people got that part right. What people didn't get was that Suning would actually win the group. So a lot of people got that right. No one seen the speak that we'll have two old sick teams in the league group stages, and FlyQuest and Team Liquid tried their hearts out.
If let's just run through the breakdown of the groups. I think we were able to see in Group A, you were actually able to see Suning as to why. I would say the strength of region for LPL. You got to see a variation in play, and you also got to see them get better as a group as their group went on. So, personally, I'm not a huge fan of the format. I think they could do like best of threes, and everybody would be pretty happy. Like not like a round robin style, but like individual best of three matches, and then you'd get like actual winners and not have to worry about tiebreakers and stuff. But that's a whole nother conversation to have. Again, I'm a StarCraft head. This is coming from StarCraft.
Wait, what do you mean?
So in StarCraft, the like the GSL and stuff, they run the same kind of like four people, like pretend. So since you're an individual playing in StarCraft, they run four people in the tournament, and they do it like a best of tournament. So therefore, every matchup ends up mattering. But with that being said, that's not what we have here. That's not what we have now, and I don't really feel like going all the way into the conversation about formats, because that could be a whole conversation on its own. Since Worlds is still doing best of ones that then transition into best of fives, which is kind of insane.
But it's a coming. That's also there probably a whole nother episode. You know, the esports you fell in love with. But everyone's giving TSM a whole bunch of flack because they were the number one team in NA, but they got put in they got a tough group.
Are we just going to okay? So are we going to jump right into TSM and NA, or are we going to talk about the group stages?
Oh, my bad, bro.
No, I'm saying which one do you want to do? I'm down for both. I just want to know which one you want to do.
I was looking at the surprises. My bad. I think the one thing that I'm surprised is that we got both Group B and Group C correct. With the teams that promoted out,
you got Group B correct. I got Group C and Group D correct.
I got B and C, and then picked the right two teams for Group D. Did not pick the right teams for. I didn't pick the order.
Yeah. I mean, and that's part of its prediction. It's kind of gambling at the end of the day. But if we're going to talk about TSM, I guess we should kind of talk about North America as well. So, TSM North America was just kind of like exposed. I know a lot of people are doing a I don't want to say like a ticker tape parade, but they're giving the North American region a lot of like I want to say they're giving them a lot of flack. I'm not with that. I think realistically, North America got outclassed, got shown up again on the world stage. They didn't have a fluke run where one of their teams just overperforms like crazy and then gets 3-0'd or shut out in the next phase of the tournament, you know. So for a while now, North America has been kind of underperforming and not well. And North American fans always tend to think that because a certain team does super well within their region, that their team is like, that the region is up to snuff. Like, I know a lot of people go back to, oh, well, Team Liquid was in the finals of MSI, last year? And that was one of the most fluke runs that you could have ever gotten. You basically had a team playing the best League of Legends that they've ever played versus a team that you might as well have replaced with like solo queue diamond players. And
you see this, you see that kind of foundation in college football. If we run with the example right now, the strongest regions LPL and LCK, right?
Mm-hmm.
The SEC and the ACC, effectively, what they both have in common, they're both in the South. In this case, LPL and CLCK, they're literally right next to each other, kind of right next to each other.
I
Then
mean,
you
yeah,
have
you do get to see that parity because yes, the at first a lot of players, so a lot of Chinese players were playing on the Korean servers, and that's how they were able to practice against Koreans. But of course, they had the higher ping and stuff like that. And now that China is the more dominant ring and dominant regent, and China has the super server, that super server is actually an idea and a concept that was proposed in NA a while ago, but failed to gain any traction because literally our top rated, our top range players don't take this game seriously. And now we're talking about, now we're talking about how our number one seed got embarrassed at Worlds, TSM going 0-6. And we're talking about the other two teams splitting 3-3. Now we'll give FlyQuest credit for taking a game off of Top Esports. Their Top Esports only lost in the group stage, but even yet and still, I mean, Top Esports actually just got a bad draw. I'm just gonna come out like Top Esports got it. I think that was actually the group of death for FlyQuest and Unicorns of Blood. There's no way for them to get out, and then Rogue, Rogue and PSG had like a very similar group of death. But we're gonna get to a point in these games or in these tournaments and in these games where we're either gonna have to expand. We're either gonna have to expand the tournament to add more teams, which I think we should do. So then that way, some of these embarrassments aren't as bad, and then we're also able to get more parity and more storylines out of these games, as well as
and yeah, but it's and or you get the case where like you get the case again like you see in the NCAA tournament. You span the bracket, you still get competitive games of basketball. But for many people, it's like, yeah, but now you're just adding another variable into the equation, which in our case should be good because, frankly, all you really do is give NA still a first round loss. You give them a second round loss.
yeah, you could look at it that way, which is like kind of bad for North America. But the idea would also be that we as fans and spectators get more games to watch. We get more value. We get more competition, especially if so like let's say right as of right now, Korea and China are super stacked. It'd be for if you're strictly just a regional like fanboy, if you're only like I only like North America or I only like Brazil, and you're not like a fan of League of Legends, you're not a fan of high level competition, then yeah, maybe this format wouldn't be for you because you're kind of gonna want like um to be able to be represented. Like I'm sure like Brazil loves INTZ and Kaboom when Kaboom's able to upset Alliance and stuff like that. And it's like they play spoiler or Albus Nox Luna. You get all these crazy stories, but at the end of the day, a lot of these teams then go into a best of five, and we've seen teams like Albus Nox get destroyed. We've seen teams even C9 after making it through the group stage just got washed. So it's just one of those things where I think if we're talking specifically about North America, we do need North America to do better. Now, we'll continue and we'll talk about how they can do better because I think it's kind of BS to just beat up on a region or beat up on a team or beat up on a group and not also try to provide some way to, you know, a critique like what's the word I'm looking for? Constructive criticism.
That one,
Yeah,
the 200.
constructive criticism. That's the other uh, meter that I would want to be able to give out because like just bashing gets nothing accomplished except for well for
I hate
me
it.
it's mildly cathartic because uh, being a longtime Korean fan and seeing Korea finally look like they're back on top of their game. And I'm not against China or anything. I thought that Japan would be decent at League of Legends at some point, but that's still to be seen. But in time.
no, what's Samira? It might be some 80 carrying man with Samira because again, they Japan is all about them fighters and Samira about them hands.
That's really funny. Um, but if I could give solutions to North America, I mean, I'll let you go. What's up, Blizzard?
Sorry, Blizzard.
Uh,
That's it.
the young pups Blizzard has arrived, and your camera froze.
On schedule.
There we go.
On schedule.
There we go. You're back now.
So it's not only King's Counter that does this; is mine too.
You're back.
So anyway, I think the one again we'll cover that later in the show because that's a whole nother episode.
I mean, now's the time to do it.
Well, in that case, pulls out the playbook. Well, the thing is, the first thing you gotta understand is, as my dog clearly needs some attention and love. Come here.
Oh, look at him. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to welcome Blizzard White to the show.
It's a Blizzard Malcolm White.
Oh, Blizzard Malcolm White. Sorry, gotta put his government. Gotta put his government out there.
AKA BMW. So basically, hopefully he doesn't try to lick the camera. He has licked my microphone before. First thing we're looking at, and I'm going to turn this way, ladies and gentlemen. The first thing we need to do is this: if we want to do better as a region, the first thing we all have to acknowledge is the fact that we don't take this game serious enough, and that's all our mistakes. Number two, our region also suffers from a lot of providers that do not give priority on their servers. So much so that some people are limited and get higher pings than others. Our country's massive, and not to mention we're covering most of Canada, all parts of Canada, maybe up to Alaska at some point, and all the way back down. Like at least in Mexico's on their own server, right? Latin America's north on their own server. North America and Canada isn't. Number three, and this is a good one. To improve a League of Legends, to improve that you have to start in the grassroots. A lot of, let's face it, League of Legends may be the biggest title out there, but FPS reign supreme. As brought you as recency's data brought you is by the number of people who play Fortnite, Call of Duty Warzone. Is a player unknown battle. It's a battleground. The list goes on and on. Like shooters run America.
Oh wow! Don't clip that out of context.
which is funny because most deadly shooters have been in North of Europe, but that's a different story for another day. But the point being here is this: no, Blizzard, you can't get away. Okay, Blizzard. Yes, okay. But the point I'm making here, kids, is this. Yes, I love you too, son. Yes. The point I'm making here is this: America's NA's priorities are not onto everything else, because to us, esports is just an entertainment. Even to those who cover sports, the only time like it's been outside covered is when Overwatch teamed up with ESPN and ABC to get their stuff covered, or it's when the impossible happened, and when in Dota an American team won a championship won a Dota championship. That was it, right? The issue that we come across, like I mentioned earlier, is like we come across that fact that a lot of people don't take this game seriously. So much so that even our streamers, more streamers that are famous for playing this game for an entertainment sake than pro. When Fager's not pulling 27,000, Tyler One's pulling about 13, 14K by himself.
The only thing I would say is Tyler One has proven that he can hang with the best of them in the top of Challenger. He is a Challenger player, but you're correct. He's not doing it for the is the word he's a Draven main, right? He's a Draven main, right? Adoration. He's not doing it. He's doing it for the monetary value that he gets from being one of the top streamers in America. You're right. He's not doing it for its competitive nature. He's he is along the lines more or less cashing in on the game that one he's really really good at, and two he's able to be very very entertaining. I would say fundamentally Riot, if Riot Games, and this is maybe why it'll never happen or go through. If Riot Games wants League of Legends to do better in North America, because it's already doing better other places, and all the servers are actually kind of ran independently. If they want to do better in North America, I think first and foremost they need to crack down on they have to almost make the game, make the players of the game have to reset their mental. A lot of people playing this game are broken. End of story. A lot of people playing this game, they don't wanna keep on playing because there are too many Smurfs, or too many people AFK, and there are too many people running it down. And at the end of the day, yes, maybe the lower you go in MMR and ELO, not to say that that's okay, but that's, it happens. But just like you were saying earlier, your friend Katie, who's a diamond level player, has had so many AFKs in her game, especially when it matters most. In her promos, in games that'll lead up to the promos, in you name the scenario. We've all been there as gamers and as players, and the fact that we're at year 10 and there's not anything in place to either more harshly penalize repeat offenders, because I'm not saying somebody has a bad day and they have a bad game and they let it out on someone. I'm talking about these players. I've been in games where I queue up for a game, I have somebody completely and utterly run it down, and then the next thing you know, I queue up again and they're in the same I'm in the same game with them. And they're like, "Oh yeah, I'm trying to demote this account." And it's like, how did you get this account in this MMR that you're trying to go down? Oh, well, I lost. I'm on a 10 game losing streak. So I just figure, screw it. I'm going to see if I can get this account to bronze or to iron before the end of the season. And then at that point, I just have to dodge. Now I have to wait 5 minutes and take the penalty for the LP and stuff like that. Like the fact that that person was on a 10 game losing streak, is now on like a 16 game losing streak, is running it down, inting every game that they're in, and hasn't been banned, because they've been reported. Even if they're only reported half of those games, they've only been reported 8 games, but for the same offenses, realistically, they shouldn't be playing the game. Even if it's not a full 14-day ban or a perma ban, right? There should be some sort of like, all right, you're not allowed to play for the next 24 hours. You lost, I don't know, 10 in a row with this crazy reverse KDA, negative KDA, and you were reported for doing so. Because I think there's a difference when you have because we've all been on win streaks and loss streaks, right? So when you're on a loss streak, but you're trying and your score lines are okay and your team understands, or every game you're in, they're just bad games that just don't go your way when you're on a loss streak, right? But there's a difference between that, and then there's a difference between going like 0-15, 0-10 every game, and Riot still not doing anything about that. And you might say, well, how is Riot supposed to do anything about that? Riot can't tell whether somebody's having a bad day or whether somebody's intentionally feeding. And it's like, yes, they can. They have these metrics. But the problem is, because they've never done anything to enforce these metrics, most people don't believe that they have any power, any say when you have your game ruined by somebody, and then you report them, and then you might get that your report was taken in, and most people stop blah 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 the day after, or after one report, and you're just like, cool. And then you queue up and they're in the same game as you, and you're just like, oh, so I guess that actually didn't do anything.
No, it almost makes as much sense, when I go off on the rails, and it's like, well, you said that people are broken. Most people are, and the system is not just the system itself. It's also let's also take this with a grain of salt. Not everyone here is playing with the greatest system in the world. and it's nor with the knowledge sometimes the nor the knowledge sometimes. Like I said, there's times where people are just playing the game. They're playing a champion. They're playing the game. They're not playing the game. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
It's not like EA Sports. It's in the game. They're playing it, but they're not in the game.
And
And
that's where I'm saying like this is just like my first step. What I'm saying is like we need to make the culture like if because this isn't me discussing or talking about hey we're all like bronze and silver and we just play and have a good time and have fun. I'm talking about like if North America wants to be better competitively in the world, culturally in North America, we need to like reassess how the game is played and understood and looked at, and that stems from the bottom of the ladder. A lot of people think that the top of the ladder is where all these changes need to be made, and then when you make those changes in the top of the ladder, it'll like trickle down. But people forget that you don't start at the top of the ladder. On average, you start mid silver, right? You start in the muck. You start mid silver, maybe high bronze. If you do really really well, you start maybe at the near the top of silver because I don't think they start people in platinum anymore. I might be wrong, but I don't believe they start because they used to the if you won all 10 of your games, you used to start in like platinum 1. But I don't think they do that anymore. You can always, if anyone wants to, if they know, they can always correct me. I'm always open to criticism. Um, but you're starting in a lower place. You're starting in a lower point. And if we're supposed to be growing and creating talent, not everybody is like I don't remember the kid, but it's Viper's little brother who literally has the rank 1, one of the best players on our server as his older brother, who he can be like, hey, older brother, you're the best player in our region. Could you please teach me how to play this game? Not everybody has that. Not everybody has access to that level of play, or that level of influence and teaching and stuff like that. So when it comes down to like a regular individual who's just getting into the game, who could potentially become a great player, I think the concept or the mindset in North America is you're either great or you're not. For some reason, when it comes to video, especially video games, I think maybe it even has to do more so on a sports kind of aspect. But there's a big concept of you either have what it takes or you don't. But in America, we're also kind of like oddly conditioned to be like, if you work hard, if you work at it, if you do your best, you can achieve it and you can get it too. So it's like, which is it? Because yeah, talent will take you only but so far, and the rest of it has to be hard work. And you look at a lot of these Korean and Asian players, they weren't all superstars. A lot of them started in like PC bongs and internet cafes and grinded hours after hour after hour after hour to get to where they are, on top of whatever talent they may have had to start off the game, you know? But here in America, it's like, oh, you didn't 10-0 your placements, and this is your first year playing League of Legends, and you didn't 10-0 your placement. Well, you might as well just stop trying now because you'll never be challenger. Think about how many games you've been in, win or lose, where people are just like, oh, you don't like you may not know what you're talking about. You may not or what are you counting all the games you've ever played? You should probably stop that. but
um,
but
the answer
seriously,
is 97
sure.
this season.
But seriously,
No,
um,
that people literally no people said, man, the leader people said, why not try? Why not? Why try?
mhm.
So the answer is on 97.
But yeah, but that kind of deflates. I think it grossly deflates um those that like I always think about it. This is a small aside. I kind of think about it like, what if Faker in his first 10 games had like got trollers and flamers and smurfs, and he was just like, you know what, this game is kind of dumb. Like all the people here suck, and I'm not really feeling it. I'm gonna go play. It probably would have been StarCraft at the time, or I'm gonna go play Dota. we wouldn't have the storyline of Faker. You know what I mean? We wouldn't have like if it kind of in my opinion, like I know I have a lot of friends, I guess is where I'm drawing this from. Huh?
Froze.
What froze?
You
What do you mean?
watching your stream froze.
Oh, did you re
Hit the button.
yeah, cuz over here everything is still looking good, looking strong.
I hate my internet connection sometimes, bro. Real talk.
um I have a lot of friends that their accounts never got past like level 12, level 50. Even if they got to level 30, they got the rank and their accounts are at level 32 and they've never played another game because they're just like, this community is trash. I don't like having to try to carry four other people who at the end of the day are still going to think that I did nothing and they did something and it's all toxicity and all this other stuff. We need to change the culture of how like think about it, if everybody was like, I may not be the best, but I could be helping the best. It's almost like a utilitarian way of thinking when it comes to playing the game. Like you may not individually ever end up being in challenger, and I think that's what hurts a lot of people. That's what makes a lot of people troll. They're like, well, if I can't be challenger, then you can't be challenger. It's like, so I'm just going to run it down. I'm just going to do terrible stuff because if I can't win, you don't deserve to win. Stuff like that, right? And we need to change the mindset to be more of a, well, even if I can't get the challenger, I will be able to help someone else where this could be, you know, this could be good for them. This could be something and then that person who might have been in your silver 3 game gets the gold, gets the platinum, gets the diamond, eventually gets signed to a team. Sorry that this isn't your story, but the world doesn't revolve around you. But guess what story this then becomes? Our story as a region. Then we get that player. That player is the next, I don't know, best jungler, super sick mid laner, super sick top laner. And it all started because everyone playing took the game serious enough and respected one another enough and understood that yeah, there are reward and consequences for whatever your behavior may be that were significant enough to make people, value playing the game.
Just to bring that home, there was a thief who got arrested at a PC bank. They arrested him after the fact they cops sat there and let him finish the game of League of Legends.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember that. That
He,
was in China, Korea. That was in Korea. He go
he
ahead.
broke he broke in at this level, right? The cops find him at a PC bank. They sat right next to him, let the game be finished, and then take him under arrest
Because
because they realized
because culturally, even the police are like, we can't let you, a criminal, let these four other people down that you're in a game with. We will like you don't have any weapons. You're not going anywhere. We're going to arrest you. Finish your game. You feel me? Like, just like culturally, like I said, first and foremost, we need to completely change the mentality and the culture. Then secondarily, when that gets changed, we will then start generating better players. We'll be able to cultivate those better players that will be able to come up. Like people talk about how Korea's so good and how China's so good and how even now Europe is getting good, but they don't understand the time investment and the energy and the financial investment that was put into these regions. Korea has had esports infrastructure for decades now. So it makes sense that when a new esports title comes out, they're able to quickly ascend to like a to a proficient level, top level, proficient level at playing the game, right? China has it's very quickly modeled themselves after Korea, especially after the Korean Exodus, where all those Korean players went to and Korean coaches went to China. So China was able to almost like mirror that formula, but then you multiply it by I don't know however
two
many
billion.
people, yeah, 2 billion people, and then you basically
Rough
like
estimate. Rough estimate. Rough
you
estimate.
just get some crazy amount of trial and error, and it actually ends up working, and they now have won the last two world championships and are heavy favored. Well, to go, they at least have a 50% chance of if you if you assume that it's going to be between a Korean and a Chinese team, it could be between two Chinese teams, and there's a chance that it could be between two Korean teams. The dark horse candidates are the European teams that are still in the running. But um, and now and people are going, okay, and what about EU? EU doesn't do anything different than North America, except for they do. I know a lot of people don't follow it, but this my saving grace this summer because of COVID-19 and not so much lockdown, but just like the lack of tournament play and digital play and all these other things was that the EU Master Series. I kid you not. There are so many talented players and coming up through the EU Masters. Like basically Mad Lions and Rogue and half a Fnatic are all EU Masters players. So basically every team that Europe sent to Worlds came from EU Masters. They have an entire lower level circuit. It's basically like what in America what we would consider like college for football, um, or the minor leagues or whatever. But it's actually a fully developed league where talented players are coming out of. And what does North America have? We have collegiate, which is trash. We have a bunch of teams that have academy teams, and the academy level teams also bad. There's no actual like regional or developmental. It's just like, oh, you're basically our substitutes, but you're a ew, Silver Bullet, welcome back. Thank you for the Twitch Prime, or yeah, the Prime subscription for 3 months, bro. Killing it. I appreciate it and thank you. And you're getting a shout out in this episode right now. Feel free to also come and watch at twitch.tv /call underscore me king, where we're doing this show live.
Not
So
to mention, you on piggyback what your point is, the point you're trying to make. You were we have an academy, we have primary, there's proving grounds. You have collegiate. Collegiate's not bad, except the fact that most of those guys are club because they were good enough to play D1 most levels. They'll get picked up in Scotland. Like
time out. Let me because also I'm a nerd. I follow this stuff heavy, right? So realistically, collegiate is like the way our feeder pattern works for that is backwards. There are more former pros playing collegiate because they're pro players like Nintendo X, Maple Story. I think Maple's back in the league now. But a bunch of former pros that may have like special and stuff like that. These are like legitimate when you think about like the pantheon of former pros and you go through memory lane, season 2, season 3 League of Legends. Most of these dudes are now like collegiate all-stars. So instead of yeah, I think it's great that these players that may have stopped going to high school when they were 16, 17, 18 are now allowed to play League of Legends for a college and get a degree. I think that's absolutely phenomenal. I think that's wonderful, and I think that's great because that's almost like giving back in a way, and in a sense. But the problem is that takes away from a lot, and at some point, the pros will filter out, or maybe they'll get into some sort of rhythm where people do go through the process where they go up through like high school, college, club, and then the pros. But the way it stands right now is you just have to be really good on the ladder. Then if you're really good on the ladder, you get to a pro team. And then if you do well on the pro team, you keep on progressing. If you fizzle out of the pro team, then you go back down to college where you basically pub stomp and take your winnings, get your degree, and go. So it's like this weird loop-de-loop figure eight instead of like a linear path where which more professional sports teams have. Like currently you start in Pee Wee leagues, Hermit Pee Wee leagues, you go to what's the next league? You go to high school, high school, then college, then from college you get drafted, you go to the NFL, and it's that curve upwards. It's not like you can be in high school and then go to the pros, and then when you screw up in the pros, then you can go back to college because you were such a good pro. You were at least a good enough
You
pro.
can, guys. No, you can, but you can't play the sports you win a pro in. You can go back to college if you're a pro athlete, if you still have eligibility. It's kicker.
Okay, but
go
you
back
already said it. You already said it. You already said the part of it. You can't go back and play the game that you are a pro in. So that just cuts it. That ends it right there. It's not like you can go play pro football and then come back and play college football. You're done. You sold your ticket. You're out of here. Whereas right now you can play professional League of Legends, and then you can go and play for the University of Maryland or University of Chicago. You can play for these colleges, and for the most part, if you're a pro, you're at least. I think the qualification to go pro, if they haven't changed it, is Diamond 2. So you're at least a Diamond 2 player. Now, when the collegiate scene first started, they were literally accepting everyone. Like, I almost got into a college on my League of Legends. And this is back when I was bronze. I was going to be on their bronze because they had like bronze teams, silver teams, gold teams.
Club-based teams. That was
No. Those weren't. I'm saying when they first started collegiate, like this is for RIT, or not RIT. This is it might have been, no, it might have been RIT. This is RIT because I applied and I was talking to him, but it was still one of those up in the air things for me personally. This is before I did like the coaching stint and all that stuff. So this is like just strictly trying to play and have League of Legends pay for my education, right? I think he's talking about Sir Blizzard. But at the time they had different levels of teams where if you were like let's say you qualified for the bronze team, you got like a 10% scholarship for school. But if you qualified for like the diamond team, you went to college for with 75% paid off for and stuff. It was they had these different, scaling and scheming structures and stuff like that. But if you're already a pro, right? If you're already MASH or Nintendo X or if you're Cop or whoever, I will dominate. Even if you're any of these guys, you're already clearly a challenger player. You're at least above a diamond level player, challenger player. Now we have masters and grandmasters and all that other stuff. You could easily just slot into a college, get your degree paid for, and it's that weird, like I said, it's that weird loop-de-loop figure eight. It's not linear. But now that I didn't mean to tangent as long as I did, but now I would say go on with the point that you were making about the progression.
The procedures. Riot's already invested into a venture capital known as Playverses. A lot of folks hate them because the fact that per player it's a fee of around $57 not just for the team, for a student per student, and it's pay per capita. Now, Riot's teamed up with them because they're the only people that do it on that basis. The issue that we're running across is, again, most students don't have most students' parents don't look at gaming the way esports the way they look at everything else. I said that earlier. I told you the biggest thing that ever happened so far in North America wasn't the fact that that World sold out MSG in 18 minutes. It's the fact that they saw Beluga
Booga.
Sorry, Beluga is Mike Wang's Twitter handle. My bad. They literally saw a 16-year-old cash in $2 million. Oh, $3 million.
Well, he won $3 million. I don't know whether he took the.
But the state of New York took a half of that off rip.
Well, I don't know how, because it depends on how you have it paid out. If you have it paid out for the rest of your life, it's a lot less than if you have it paid. If you take the lump sum, it's a pretty big chunk. But keep on going. Booga winning that tournament was the first time that a lot of people were like, "Oh, esports, esports."
Yeah,
because it went from what like
it was Fortnite, and it was a game that took over the internet, mostly because of the fact that Fortnite was one of the few few genres and games that allowed not only had cultural references, but also some people say they appropriated Afrocentric culture, including dances and emotes, where a lot of people wonder, can't have that copyright for stuff you create, and many people said that you can't charge a copyright for a dance move, but you can see
Only if the dance move is structured to your character. So if you like, let's say you're a rapper,
like
and let's say you're a rapper and you're in character as a rapper, like the Humpty dance, like do the Humpty dance, do you dance, it the hump, did it dance, do you baby, that song, do the Humpty Hump, do the Humpty Hump, that song. So that guy was clearly in character, right? Like he's not rapping as like Mike. He's rapping as Humpty. So Humpty is a character. Now, if you were to take the Humpty dance belongs to his character, not to him. So you could cop he has rights and ownerships to the Humpty dance because the Humpty dance belongs to his character. Now, someone like uh
Superman.
Soldier Boy, right? Soldier Boy, as unless Soldier Boy came out and said Soldier Boy is a character that I've been playing, because I believe, you know,
All
he's.
rappers. Let's face it. All rappers are characters at this point. Let's keep it a buck. So
I think you're incorrect on that front, but for what we're discussing, what we're talking about, um, you would have to. I'm trying to think of somebody who has a dance that is in their own. Okay, so someone like that Benny, I think Danny Blanco, the guy who created that. Now come and do the two step and the cowboy boogie. I don't know, do the hoe down. See, like he created a dance, but that dance has no reference to his character, to him being a character. That's just who he is, and he made up a dance, right? So in essence, he couldn't copyright that. Even though he's like, I made up the dance, I wrote out the dance steps, this is mine. He didn't do it as a character, he did it as himself. Whereas like the Carlton is a dance that's specifically for a character. So Carlton, maybe not Alfonso, whoever, whatever, doesn't have yeah, NBC would have rights to the Carlton dance, and NBC would be able to sue as far as it comes to copyrights for that. But going back to it all again, the fact that Fortnite was able to utilize dances that then so Fortnite like appropriated dances, whether it's from African American culture, Black culture, meme culture, movie culture, but then the culture reappropriated the Fortnite dance, because I know a lot of people, especially younger people, who don't know where any of the dances come from, and they just think of them. Oh, the Fortnite dance. They have no idea that like the one dance is from what is it, Napoleon Dynamite. They've never seen an episode of Scrubs. They've never watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. So to them, all these dances are literally Fortnite dances. It's like this uncanny valley when it comes to how that works.
yeah, yeah, and then they picked up on this. They're running with it. They're making a whole bunch of money. The parents start seeing all these in V-Bucks because again, like Fortnite was the kid appropriate shooter, third person shooter, where you play something like PUBG. It's not appropriate for children at all. It may be more realistic, but it's not appropriate. And they get away with a lot of stuff because it's kid appropriate, even with the guns. Kid appropriate.
I mean, they just ticked all the boxes. There's no blood. The guns look super cartoonish. The weapons are like pickaxes and like laser beams. They've even invested. Marvel has even invested in them. I mean, to an extent, if you remove, huh?
Disney has some slight ownership in them. Let's be honest.
I was gonna say, well, I don't know that to be fact. I know Epic. Epic is its own gaming company. I don't know. I don't know about Epic's financial backgrounds and dealings, but I would always guess that Tencent owns a portion of Epic. But anyway, what was I gonna say? Oh, if you were to remove certain characters or at least change some of the VGU stuff or the visual game stuff from like Darius, you'd have to maybe change or rework Evelyn and stuff. You could literally make League of Legends go from an M to at least a T, Because literally the only things in League of Legends that off the top of my head are like Darius actually like makes blood come out of you. Because they removed the bleed from Draven also, and Evelyn is like seductive or seductress or whatever. Everybody else is kind of just in a fantasy thing.
And Timo, shrooms,
I
how
mean,
shrooms,
well,
oh,
people aren't getting high off shrooms; they're being poisoned.
worse.
Excuse me.
And then he's
But I
and then
mean,
that
but I
because
mean
if you're
that's part of just like there are poisonous shrooms in the world. So that to me wouldn't be, anything crazy. What I'm saying is League is in a very like with the new Wild Rift where it's going to mobile. I think this could be the next step that pushes League of Legends into another even more multi-billion-dollar company because from looks of it, they're toning down a lot of things. They're making things look a lot more. I don't want to say kid friendly, but like they're going for a cool. They're going towards a cool aspect versus like a gamer aesthetic. Like, and I mean, I guess the most gamery MOBA aesthetic would be like Dota, and the least gamery MOBA aesthetic would be like Battle Right on the other side.
mm-hmm.
So, um,
Not to mention Heroes of the Storm that may or may not.
Heroes of the Storm was kind of gamery because it was based off of Blizzard characters. So if you weren't like you could play the game, but if you didn't play Blizzard games, you probably didn't value those champions as much. Like it was really really cool playing as all those um characters from like Diablo and StarCraft and World of Warcraft and stuff like that. But if you didn't have any emotional connection to those games, then you might not like. You know what I mean?
Not to mention many of those heroes also came into soon later became Overwatch, one of Blizzard, again another shooter genre that again, like I said, it's weird that like when it comes to NA, FPS matters. And like you even saw this hierarchy in high school, video game high school, which is one of the greatest indie series to come out of the YouTube show era, probably. Because even then, like there's no hierarchy about MOBAs. It's all about FPS. Like playing varsity FPS means a lot in America, hands
Well,
down.
that I think that also comes down to access, like at means of access. So a long time ago, your means of access was going to the arcade. Then the means of access became having a console. So for the bulk share, especially for the last, not like remove the last, I would say 5 to 7 years. If you go to 2000 and if you go to 2000, so let's remove the last decade. If you go from 2010 to like 1990, everyone's a console gamer. Everyone has a PlayStation 1, PlayStation 2, PlayStation 3,
Dreamcast,
a Dreamcast, a Super Nintendo or a Nintendo 64, a GameCube,
the Nintendo Mobile
a
Editions.
Wii. It's very console driven and console based, so it makes sense why the focus, especially when it comes to individuality and individual players and stuff, is console based. And then the competitive titles in those consoles at the time were shooters: Halo, Call of Duty, um,
SOCOM once
yeah,
upon a time.
SOCOM. So you're looking at that. So then you go from your 2010s to your 2020, and what are people doing more and more? They're playing more mobile games, as you saw an uptick in game apps and stuff like that, and they're playing computer games where they're actually sitting behind a PC, building a PC, buying a PC that can handle, uh, you know, just those level of games. And now so like let's say from 2020 to 2030 we're gonna see a bigger emphasis on the computer games that I think people are gonna actually want to
And that's
kind of get
that's again
behind.
that's if people don't have to still have the time to sit at home. Like let's be frank. The only reason a lot of people are paying about computer games right now because of Corona. And excuse me 1 second. I need to get some out my nose.
Okay. I would say, along with what he said about it being Corona, I would disagree, but I would love for him to be here since I'm disagreeing. But I'm not going to just let dead air fill up because he's not here. But I would disagree because I think we were gradually moving towards more and more esports and more people playing video games, Corona just like accelerated that curve. Went from like everybody playing it leisurely, more and more people getting involved, more and more people going, "Hey, this is kind of cool." And I'm just gonna recap that when he puts on his headset.
Ow, ow, ow.
So I was gonna disagree with you when it came to the Corona thing. I think we were steadily headed towards more and more and more people playing video games and video game competitions being more accepted. I think Corona just accelerated that curve where we went from maybe in 2 or 3 years where we should be to being there and being here now because people are bored. People want entertainment. People want to watch something, do something, which again, will I do want to bring it back to making North America better because we've gone on the most extreme super tangent to get around to things that will help North America when it comes to international play and stuff like that. But now, especially with people, because you got to think there are people who just recently learned about TSM and just learned about Cloud9 and Team Liquid and FlyQuest and all these other teams that are in the North American region, and they've developed fandoms and they've developed liking and support for these teams, and then they see them play internationally and they're like, oh, all these teams that I like are dog. This is not good.
And it
This
goes,
is
like you said earlier, it goes back to what comes up the ladder. And the truth of the matter is this: there is a lot of stagnation. And you can see, I know you watch plenty of YouTubers said this, YouTubers said that. There's so much stagnation on the ladder that the only way to fix the ladder may be to do something I even want something the 2K League to do. Make a whole nother server, bro. Just make a whole nother server for it.
uh,
I know it sounds weird, but I bet you if you had a server where you had everybody gold once you pass gold, like once you hit your gold, once you get into gold, right? When you win your way to plat, right? And I'm not sure the number was supported, but if you hit a point where you can cap, where you can move everyone who's like gold 1 or make the what's it like gatekeeping the gold 1
sure.
above on another server, could that fix some of the problems?
No, you'd have to make it way higher. So the Chinese super server right now, I believe, is you have to get D1, and once you hit D1, then you're allowed to apply for the super server, which means like like the bronze 1 of the or the iron 4 of the Chinese super server are D4 players, if that makes sense, right? So their worst players are so significantly better than our best players, and they're actually able to populate an entire server doing that. Whereas over here in NA, if you were to take away like the only reason why you'd start it as at gold is because we don't have enough players that are good enough to populate an entire server. Queue time to be like 3 hours for people to find the games, or they'd have to coordinate like, okay, everybody, we're getting on at 6 Eastern Standard Time. So then everybody would have to basically be like, okay, to play on the super server and so that we get short queue times, we're all gonna play at 6 p.m. Like, but that's not how you want a game. You want a game. You want a game where people can have fun. You want a game where people can just like hop on whenever they want.
We have that in iRacing actually. There's certain matter of fact, I was supposed to run a race at one of the races I normally run. We all know that there's some things that have higher popularity than others. Popularity wins all, right? In iRacing, there are certain series that you're gonna have we call them high FOS. So it's the days where everybody agrees that like all the people who want to compete comp wise show up on those days. Now because you can't really feel enough to gauge real competition because everything comes one split.
And also, there's not enough people. It's not you don't have like 30 million people playing iRacing.
No, it's more like you don't have 30 something people playing in that one series because it's not that popular.
Yeah. That's what
Prime example.
that's what I'm saying.
Example.
That's what I'm saying would happen if you were to create a super server in North America that was only diamond players. One, there aren't enough diamond players and up, or diamond one players and up in North America, because if you really think about it, the the challenger, a lot of challengers accounts are duplicates, sometimes triples. Like it's one person with two, three, four accounts in challenger. TF Blade is a great example. TF Blade has what, like four accounts that he grinded up to count, or five accounts that he grinded up to challenger, and of course they probably like decayed by now. He's probably maybe sold them or done whatever, but he's somebody who's taking up, he's one person taking up five spots. Then you look at somebody like Tyler One. Tyler One has his main account, which is like his, you know, Tyler One account. Then he has like his reformed account. Then he has his jungle account that he just got up there. So you have another person taking up like three or four spots. And those are, and Viper has two accounts. He's trying to get rank 1 and rank 2. You know, you have a handful of, I would say, high challenger players. There's this guy named his name used to be Quantum Physics, but now I think he's just Quantum. Um, he just has unlimited challenger accounts. Like he plays this game in a manner where he doesn't, like, he can't not get in the challenger. He plays the game, he just gets in the challenger. I watch his games on YouTube. Shout out to Quantum Physics. Please go out and like support him as well. He's a dope content creator. He's really really entertaining. He's fun and stuff like that. But I watch his games. I see his gameplay, and I'm just like, why can't I do that? It's one part he's incredibly skilled, but it's other part he's playing with such incredibly skilled players also, because he's one of those people where if your average MMR or your average elo in North American Challenger is like 300 or 400, he's like an 1100 elo. Well, not this season. Like I don't think anybody's broken past 1,000 this season, but he's like a 600 MMR or 600 elo, 700 elo player. I think right now Revenge is at like 800 or 890 or something. I can't remember. But like last year or the year before, Tarzan cracked 1,000, and that was a big deal because they were messing up his queue so badly, because it was like he was so far above. He was so far above everybody else on that account that he would be in a game, like he would be in a game, they would give him like two D1 players and two challenger players against like five challenger players, because his MMR was so high it was actually just throwing off the games, which is amazing to see. But again, goes back to showing that like we don't have enough players, and if we have enough players, we don't have enough good players to be able to make that kind of super server thing work here in North America.
So it almost tells you this, wonders this, and we actually, and many people conversation brought it up. It's North America. Is the only thing North America brings to Worlds is hype
For the West,
and
for the West, and yeah, for NA.
they bring none but we bring the hype, we bring the music, we bring the production. But is NA really just a wild card region that just has money?
Yeah. I mean, in time, I truly believe, in time, Brazil and Latin America will end up taking over North America's spot. I see it happening. Maybe not. I see it happening in 3 years. So if it doesn't happen in 3 years, cool beans. I'm happy that NA got their stuff together and they're able to, you know, get themselves out of the rut. But if they're not careful, like, yes, INTZ also got knocked out of Worlds, but so did Mad. You know, I think Latin America, Brazil, they're learning from some of our players. We've had a lot of our coaches go there. We've seen what happens when they get the Korean infrastructure and Korean talent to go there. Like, literally, where's the if Tay if Tay doesn't accidentally teleport to a minion in game 1, Latin America probably gets out of groups. And that's keeping it a buck. So, NA has to really figure out what it needs to do. Like I said, for me, I think it's a mentality and a culture thing that they need to actually be able to progress, push forward, and from the bottom up, cultivate a better understanding and a better mentality towards the game, more positive mentality towards the game. I think number two would be then utilizing those talents and the people that they find to prop up, especially the higher end of the ladder. You know, you want your good talent, you want your what's the word I'm looking for? Your savants, you know, to be able to take advantage of the game that's in front of them. Like, I hate feeling that North America lucks into success. I don't like that feeling. And I want North America to get to a position where it's like we aren't just lucking into success. You know?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I think the term I'm looking for. We generally call them. Some people call them studs. Some people will call them, your workhorses. Call them workhorses. The stars. You want to see your star talent start rise up and cultivate people and I think that's like the last thing I never got to is because NA has so many options. Like I'm not sure how many options Korea has for entertainment. I'm not sure how many options China has for entertainment in their communist society. We're not gonna get political, but but in North America, there's so many options for your entertainment. What's the point? Like literally, what's the point of somebody when I told you there's more streamers on Twitch streaming League of Legends that don't care, but some of them don't care about getting to the peak. And if they do care, we're still sorry.
I know he's fine.
The still afraid from NASCAR. Their finish line, their finish line or their one to go, isn't for the best for the server. It's best for them. Like game in North America, like, what's good for you, not good for the whole. Every other region you already saw, but they do what's good for the whole. North America is about what's good for me as an individual. And if I can make more money, is it be like Casey Tron, make more money,
I miss Casey Tron. I love Casey Tron.
Making fun of me and paying me.
Bro, Casey Tron is OG. I love Casey Tron. But no, what I would say, the only thing I would say against that is Korea and China also have high level streamers. It'd be one thing. It'd be high level entertainment streamers. Like they have your effectively like your Tyler Ones and stuff, but that Tyler One person is also still like going to grind out and be like a high elo player. So it's like being like that's what America needs or that's what America needs to do. I don't think that's it, Jack. I'm just saying like those other countries have high level competitive talent and then also have high level entertainment talent at least when it comes to League of Legends and other esports. They have not Weibo. Yeah, Weibo's like Twitter, but they have Afrika, which is the team in Korea, but Afrika is actually just a streaming platform.
And then Azubu.
Yeah, the streaming platform. So like they have those same metrics or those same levels, and they're not.
The new one you told me the Trovo.
Oh, Trovo, which is owned by Tencent. Yeah, Trovo is huge, or getting bigger. Trovo isn't huge. Sorry, Trovo has the potential to be huge since it's actually owned by one of the game makers, and Tencent owns so much when it comes to video games. That's where we should host this show. We should host it on Trovo.
I'm not gonna say it. Anyway, back to the point. Like I said, America has a lot of options when it comes to entertainment. And let's face it, like I said, I just left a game with Peach, and Peach is cool as hell. She's a personality streamer, plays all this shit. But I was keeping a buck. Is it caring for the game? Like caring for the game the way we care for the game? Though sometimes you care more than I do, because quite frankly, I have a better win percentage with you than myself, because you actually put the time in practice. We're talking about practice.
Keep on going. You're gonna lose track. You're gonna lose your train of thought. Keep on going.
Practice. I think it comes down to the fact that again, it goes back to this. If North America wants to do well, and we'll move on to that next topic, that it's going to take some practice. You're right. Yeah, it's going to take some time to. You're going to have to clamp down. It's going to have to take. You got to make cues tighter. You got to find ways to mitigate people's losses, especially when there's nothing their fault, and also expand the FF window, FF early window to 3 minutes to maybe 5 or 10, especially if somebody had disconnected and can't get back, or there's a riot error on their part.
So you're saying you'd wanna actually bring the window down so you can get out of the games quicker.
No, the FF remake window.
Oh,
At
you want to move it
up,
up so
up
that okay, gotcha.
the five, like because it was like, for example, one of Katie's 4v5s that she really tilted off the face of the earth that one night. I think you were streaming and stuff. She tilted off the face of the earth because her jump right is it just like I almost had this game. Her jacks couldn't move from the fountain. Like that kind of code shit. Like stuff that is not the player's fault, but they literally can't move. Like something's wrong hardware or software wise that's out of the player's control.
I will say those games are generally at a super small percentage. That those are just the ones that we focus on because of the way our brains are wired. But
those are not there. Also, majority of the ones that people are not there.
But I will say, it's a slippery slope. It's a tightrope because on one end, so the 3 minute remake thing, I think
only covers if you only covers the person never loads in. If the person loads in and then leaves, it doesn't count.
yeah, those things like that I think could be worked on. But the problem with that is at that point the game can't tell whether somebody is reconnecting, disconnecting, somebody like I'll use me as an example. When I'm streaming, if I when I get that glitch, when I get that one glitch and I have to completely like I load in and then I have to log back out and then I have to reload back in, like yes, on my part because I have a decent connection and stuff like that, I'm able to get back in by the time minions spawn. But what if I had like your connection where that might be like I might not come back in for another. I want to play the game. I want to win. I want to help my team and stuff. But then I might not come back in until 4 minutes into the game. But since it's 4 minutes into the game, the team makes a remake. I get a lever buster.
Or worse, you're about to win a game, and then then somehow your internet just goes out, and you're sitting there like you should be in a promo, but you just took an L.
This is a personal story for those of you that can't tell. We were
And then and then you tilt some more, and then next thing you know, you're in the same position my friend is in. The point being is
your friend or wait, what your friend?
Yes, Katie was on some real depressed ish.
Oh, okay, gotcha. I was just double checking.
She was on some depressed type ish. Like she was that bad. Like I felt bad.
Somebody was telling a personal story and then pivoted to somebody else. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, but yeah, I'm not gonna front on the matter when it comes down to it. These are again infrastructural things, like the morality, the morale of the matter can't be changed if the infrastructural things aren't taken care of either. I think Riot's done a. I'll give them credit. I'll give them credit for this. I think they've done a great job by reducing the number of like rendering and polygons and stuff to make the game be able to run on weaker systems. I think that's something that they don't get credit for. A lot of people are like, oh, like when people look at old League of Legends videos and they're like, oh, the good old days, I miss this. They don't understand that rendering the way the game was built then, rendering the game was actually more labor intensive on your CPU and GPU. So now you don't need as strong or as proficient of a CPU or GPU to be able to play League of Legends, which a lot of people just don't know.
Hold up, King. Guys, those just coming in. Thank you, guys. This is the Ion Esports. It's Esports podcast from boy VG, boy Colin King, me, Crown 21. I'm just giving a little break. Welcome you guys to the stream. For those who are watching this this podcast is being streamed on 2 different channels. On the twitch.tv call _ me King and Crown 21. The lovely voice you're hearing. if you do like, if you do like the content, please stick around. We voice your opinions. We generally talk about our love for League of Legends. Since I can't talk to him about iRacing because he doesn't participate, he does not participate nor condones my love of iRacing due to how their monetary system works. But that's a different story for another day.
Low-key
But the
predatory.
point, listen, listen. No, 2K is predatory, and we'll get to that train in a minute. But but guys, just giving you know, this is the Eye on Esports podcast. This is episode 5, Return of the Salt,
That's really
and
funny. I still think that name's funny. I thought it was Revenge of the Salt. Is it Return of the Salt?
it's Revenge of the Salt.
Okay. Now I wanted to break away from that because we have labored and hammered this point for I literally don't know how long has this been going on.
Since the stream started, we have gone on for about an hour and 16 minutes.
Oh wow. So yeah. We've definitely labored that point. Let's do our predictions for the knockout stage for groups. The teams going in, you have in your quarterfinals, it'll be Top Esports versus Fnatic, Suning versus JD Gaming, uh, Gen G versus G2, and Damwon versus DRX. Who do you have in the Top Esports versus Fnatic, and why?
I don't know. My money says Fnatic. My money says Top, but I think Fnatic could pull off the upset. So I picked Top Esports. I'm really more concerned about how Fnatic took their group stage win. I know the display they put together. The display they put together could possibly be the Top Esports team. Again, this is their first time out the gate. And looking back at Fnatic's performances in groups, if I can go, if they allow me to do that, sorry, you can't actually. Also, was it Nemesis like on another team once upon a time?
Nemesis?
Mm-hmm.
I don't remember Sister. I remember. I feel like he was the mid laner for. Let's go to what Lol Wiki or whatever. Lolpedia, is that where we'll? But keep on going. About your point.
Hold on 1 second. I gotta do a little.
Are you looking him up right now or no?
No, somebody said something questionable, and then I got hit with the click.
Gotcha.
You understand?
They had to ban him or something.
No. They get hit with the timeout.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I think the one thing that I haven't looked them up. I think the one thing I want to see is kind of like Fnatic just took on not only they took on one of the third, this would be the second hardest Korean team in the group.
Mm-hmm.
Could you want to make the argument that Gen G was the second hardest for them, second hardest Korean team in on all groups?
All right, he was on Mad Lions.
They sure could have needed him. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
Anyway, like they took on Gen G, and did they split a series with them?
Oh, against Gen G.
Yeah,
I think they lost. I think they lost both games to Gen G.
Oh yeah, they lost a tiebreak. But as a seeing how Fnatic played that lane, played the game, you kind of want to see can they learn anything from playing against Gen G, even though Top Esports is a totally different monster with Knight. But chances is hopefully that Hylissang can really carry that bot lane out. But it may be too much for Huion and Jackie Love may be too much for him.
I mean, I think. Oh, my camera went out. Jeez Louise. Just when I started paying attention to other things. I think Jackie Love might be one of the most underrated players of all time at this point. But that's just a personal opinion. I'm still formulating my idea on Jackie Love because he was on the 2018 World Championship team. He was on last year's semi-finalists because didn't IG get knocked out in the semis last year?
Yeah, it's a fun fox. Yeah, like it was like the easy. It was almost the easy run. Like they almost had the easy run where like I think G2 knocked out somebody.
And then G2 I think knocked out Dom one, and then. But anyway, I like I said that's just something that I'm working on. I have to actually flesh it out, but I kind of believe that he's just criminally underrated at this point because now he's back in on a team that may very well be the number one seed. Like if this was a how should I put it? They're all one seeds is how they do it. But if this was like a traditional bracket, they'd be the actual number one seed, and then on the other side of the bracket, you'd have the other number one
Oh,
seed.
G2. Oh, G2 beat Telecom.
Yeah, SKT.
Mm-hmm. Again.
Hey man,
They did
like I said, G2's play style goes really really well against traditional Korean teams, which is why I'm kind of on the fence about putting Genji over G2 because Genji plays the traditional Korean style. So if you whereas I think regardless of whether G2 beats Genji, they're not going to be Damwon. Oh, they might be Damwon because Damwon literally might sink to their level. I know that sounds like G2 is bad, but the thing right now is Damwon is firing on all cylinders, and when they're firing on all cylinders, Damwon is playing like 9 out of 10, 10 out of 10 levels, right? Whereas like G2 in this tournament at least looks like they're playing at like a 6 out of 10, but they're still playing their hyper aggressive like mentality and stuff. So what we're going to end up seeing is if Damwon is going to stay at their 9.5 out of 10 or their 9 out of 10, or they're going to say, "Hey, we're ready to come fight you guys at your level. Let's just brawl." Because I do think that there's a little bit of history there where Damwon has some ill will towards G2 and wants unfinished business and wants to get back and throw hands. So it could turn into a bloodbath. And when a game turns into a bloodbath, that just becomes a super snowbally game depending on who's.
Oh, let's bring that. Let's make it clean. Don Juan got 3-1. Got 3-1 by G2.
Yeah.
That later 3-1 SKT. Now, team formerly known as SKT, now T1.
Yeah.
And then got swept by Phoenix.
Fun plus Phoenix, yeah. So at the end of the day, unless unless G2 makes some kind of miracle run and wins the championship, I do really believe that last year was their year. Was it last year? Yes. Last year was their year to win a
Giants
world
came out
championship.
that year.
Well, it just happens that they ran into a team that most people would not have put, and especially after their like play-in or whatever. I think they had a really really shaky start. FunPlus had a really really shaky start. Most people would not have put FunPlus Phoenix to be like favored to win the world championship at all. So having G2 run into them effectively, the again this comes down to really really bad tournament design. Like I'm pretty sure I'm 90% sure if I remember correctly, Fun Plus Phoenix made it to a final without having to play a single Korean team. If my memory serves me correctly, which is actually insane.
They played Chinese. They were a Chinese team.
And at this point,
let's run it back.
I mean, you can go. I don't know how far back you'd have to go. You probably have to go as far back as.
I'm on the wiki page. In Group A, they played. In Group A, they played Slice, J Team, and Game Esports.
Yeah, that was their Group A. So they didn't have a Korean in their group, and then did they play a Korean in their
playing games in the playing stage? Fun Fuck Seasons was not they're not in the playing stage.
No, not playing because they auto qualified. I'm saying in groups and then in the knockout stage.
They've only played. They play EU, a fellow LPL, and then play another EU.
Yeah. So literally. Yeah. So I was right.
Because they won groups. They won their group.
No, what I'm saying is Fun Plus Phoenix won an entire world tournament and didn't play a single Korean team. Good format, Riot. like, like
Hey,
good format, Riot.
hey,
Like,
hey, clearly you're underestimating thing. I think you're something. I think you're missing something. You're
see,
missing. You're missing.
you pulled out a dice, and I'm gonna raise your dice and tell you that this is Riot. Okay, that's it. They just coin flip. All right. So,
No, King, you're clearly missing out here. They they hit that they hit that G20 crit so
oh yeah,
hard.
they definitely rolled a natty. They rolled a natty 20, and they had already plus. They already had like +5 on or +6 from their abilities. So yeah, that is actually amazing. Like I said, it's a fault of the format of the tournament. It's a fault of, I don't even know. It's a bunch of things, but that was last year. So anyway, like I'm saying,
The question is, can G2 pull off the upset one more time and
I
prove that they
mean,
belong?
we're at a place where in these games, it's not unreasonable to think that Fnatic could just show up on the day and win against top. It's not unreasonable to think that G2. I think G2 and Gen G is way closer than people think. Again, G2 has a style that beats traditional Korean teams. Like G2 has a style that beats
Best of
traditional.
five? Would this be a best of five
Yeah, it's
or
best of,
competitive or competitive best of three?
no, this is a best of 5.
No, race to three. Would it be a competitive race to three? Would it be a best of five? In other words,
You're saying is it gonna be like a really 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 close back and forth 3-0, or is it gonna go? Gotcha.
or you're gonna have to use a sub.
Um, I think the G2 Gen G game has a higher probability of being a good best of 5, whereas the Damwon G2 game has a higher probability of being a race to best of 3.
Well, technically, all is a best of three. Technically, same term. This is the question whether or not will you get swept or not.
Well, yeah, a race to 3 game, not best of 3, but a race to 3 games, or a full 5 games. I guess what I would call it is a competitive 3-game sweep, or a full 5-game play out, like playing it out.
Where the magic of the D20, that D20 luck factor.
Let's call it, if we're giving them all their roles. G2, the Korean counterpuncher, literally is on the side of the bracket
But they get two Korean teams.
where like, they're playing against a Korean team in Gen G, and then they play, if they win that, they play against either Damwon or DRX, like another set of Koreans. And then so let's just pretend like they win. So they win, and unless Fnatic also goes on a super run, then they play another Chinese team. So it's one of those things where it's like, uh they win.
I'm showing it on screen, by the way.
They may be able to make it all the way to the well, if I go to show it on screen on mine, I'll end up taking you out of the, I don't,
Picture.
yeah.
But yeah, on my sky, you see basically a what if. It doesn't matter either way. You're looking at like, and if we didn't even cut it at Jigdom and Sunni, I'm wondering I'm wondering is that Jigdom series to lose?
Jindongs.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Jindong is a higher seed than Suning. Jindong has a even record domestically with top esports when it comes to best of 5 finals. Because in spring, Jingdong beat top 3-2, and in summer, top beat Jingdong 3-2. So they've taken each other back and forth. Um,
So people are gonna wonder with the top if that semifinal happens, and this is why I'm gonna go back and like not lock in my all my I'm not gonna lock my semifinals in just yet. I So I'm gonna unclick some stuff soon.
I don't think you can unclick. You just get one or the other, and then it saves.
Yeah. but is it? I'm going to sit here and wonder, like, will people say top esports versus Jigdom will be the real finals or not? And
I think depending on how the finals go. So this is where I'll come down on that, right? I think if top esports wins and Damwon wins and top esports and Damwon meet in the final, then that will be considered the true final, right? Because it'll have the number one seed from Korea and the number one seed from China duking it out to see who's the best in the world. Now, um if top esports wins and then G2 goes on a run, or Gen G ends up beating Damwon, or DRX beats Damwon, and if it's anyone other, because right now the idea right now is the two number ones are top esports and Damwon Gaming. They also look the most dominant in their groups. So for all intents and purposes, you want top esports and Damwon Gaming to make it to the finals. If it's anything other than top esports and Damwon Gaming in the finals, but you get a Jingdong Gaming and a top esports final, then you will end up seeing, what's the word I'm looking for? You'll end up seeing people be like, well, the real final already happened, kind of thing, you know.
Mhm. Because again, like, you, you could easily have two 5-1 team, 5-1 group teams fighting each other in the semis,
I mean, also, I'm trying to
while
see.
also having a D2 versus a DRX, which again, that's the music, that's the beauty of League of Legends. Anything can happen.
Anything
Any,
is possible.
like, because like, do you really expect the Church of Chovy, the Church of Chovy, to really go out like this against a former competitor?
What? Damwon? DRX?
No. Yeah, you really expect them to go out? They go out like scrubs right there.
I don't think they're going out like scrubs. I think it's gonna be a good game. It's either, I would say, 3-0 Damwon or 3-1 Damwon. I don't think that game goes to 5. I think Damwon has their number. The difference between Damwon and DRX is DRX is, again, Church of Chovy. They have solid players. It's not to say that the rest of their team doesn't like bring it. I'm not trying to crap on the rest of the players, but it's just a matter that DRX also has the what's the word I'm looking for? So, like, yeah, DRX is what has Def, Doran, Piosik, who's one of the few good Lilias, Chovy, and Keria, and you're looking at Damwon, who has
Nuclear.
effectively better players at each role except for AD, and that's about it.
Because
They
they have
they
280 carries.
huh?
They can play with 280 carries.
Yeah, but Ghost. I mean, I guess, yeah. I would say Ghost isn't. Ghost is solid, but he's not as good at like he and Deft bring the same level of
Impact.
reliability. No, I would say reliability. They're good. They're good late game fighters, but the difference is Canyon is number one or number two best jungler at the tournament. Like, it's between Canyon and Kanavi for number one and number two when it comes to junglers, in my opinion. Um, Showmaker and Knight are number one and number two for mid laners. I think Naguri and uh, Zoom are actually. I think Naguri and Zoom are the best top laners, but in opposite directions. Whereas Naguri's like an 8 out of 10 because he can play carries at like a 10, and then he can play weak side tanks and utilities at like a, well, he did really really good in that one Lulu game, but he can play them at like a 7 or something. So for me, it comes down to like an 8, 8.5, where Zoom is like the single best weak side player I think to ever play League of Legends professionally. Like, you can literally give him no attention. He can be camped by the jungler, and he's going to walk away with like a double kill or go 1 for 1, and not be behind or down. Like, that's a really 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 good aspect to have. But the difference is where Naguri can then take that lead and then just like make you wish you never logged in. Um, Zoom is like an all-purpose absorption. Like he just takes it all, and then he's able to use that because he normally plays like an Ornn or something. He's able to turn that into like the utility for his team and provide for his team comp. So they both have very very high. But Zoom's on Jingdong Gaming anyway. But I don't think what's old boy's name? Adoran. I don't think Doran actually is even remotely close. Not, I shouldn't say remotely close. I don't think Doran is in the same league as Naguri.
Again, that's why we lace them up, King, to find out.
Yeah, this will. I mean, again, the thing with League of Legends, it's like any given Sunday. So at the end of the day, if DRX is prepping, because they got this long break. Before it was like back to back to back to back to back to back. Now
They already know how Dumb One wants to play. Like Gen G already knows the tape. Like everybody knows the tape of how you gonna handle it. Now the question is this: can you take the tape and do it? There's a difference from practicing and then doing it. This is what you've been trying. Again, this is what King tried to get me to do. It's one thing to ask what I'm supposed to do this. It's another thing to see it, recognize it, and then do it without having to second guess yourself.
yeah. So, like I mentioned before, for me, I am going with Top Esports over Fnatic, Jingdong Gaming over Suning. The only one that I'm heart and stomach torn over is Gen G and G2. I'll probably like figure it out by tomorrow since there's literally 1 day, 2 minutes left until lock-ins, and then I'm having
I already picked G2.
Damwon over DRX. Then I have Top Esports over Jingdong, Damwon over Gen G, because that's my placeholder for now, and then Damwon over Top. But again, all of these teams could have been hiding their power level, and they could, excuse me, go into beast mode.
Again, we'll never know until again those games go live, and I wish what Riot could do. Like I know they had to deal with ESPN for like the playoffs or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I really wish they could have cut the deal for Worlds, but as we learned, is esports is not designed for television at times. It wasn't designed to start for television.
So I want to wrap up the show real quick. I think we've had a pretty good run and conversation.
Yeah, only time out one person was saying something questionable.
Gotcha, it's fine. When we go off air, you can tell me. Um, for all those people, you can find my main man Ian Race Crown White on Twitter at Race Crown, and you can find him on twitch.tv/RaceCrown21 for all your esports, iRacing, League of Legends needs. And me here on twitch.tv /call_me king. That's Call Me King with a little underscore between call and me. Other than that, I want to thank you all for swinging by. Make sure to follow on all the socials. If you can, make sure you go to your local Veterans Association. Help give back to those that gave to us. Make sure you take your time if you haven't already. If you don't have a rescue, or if you're just looking to help at the SPCA, you can walk the dogs and take care of the cats and all other animals at the SPCA. As well as if there's a local soup kitchen or food drive nearby, feel free to donate your time. Again, this has been your boy King and Race.
Oh, one more thing. If you have someone elderly and you have a lawnmower, cut their grass. You only got to do is cut the grass for somebody who can't cut it for themselves.
Oh yeah, help the elderly. Yeah, definitely that. If there's somebody,
you never know. You might get some free pie. You might get some free stamps out of it. You never know.
You never know. Old people will always be giving out stamps and pie. But thanks for hanging out with us. Stamps and pies out.